If personal goals and ambitions have fallen apart, whether it was dreams of a relationship or a job that didn't materialize, there is always hope. And the remarkable story of Solanus Casey is one you can't afford to miss. Join us on an exciting journey as we unravel the extraordinary and miraculous life of Solanus Casey. His goals in life were shattered, but what emerged was better than anyone expected. It's a true story of resilience, compassion, and the triumph of the human spirit that will leave you inspired and captivated. While others feared pain and suffering, he saw it as a gift. In a time of hatred and racism, he chose to love everybody. And when people had incurable health issues, all sorts of astonishing miracles happened through him. Declared to have lived a life of heroic virtue by the Pope himself, Solanus Casey is on the path to potentially becoming the first American-born saint. Here's a series of inspiring videos about him. So how does a humble Wisconsin farm boy become potentially the first American-born saint? What decisions did Solanus Casey make in his life that set him on a path propelling towards sainthood? Solanus Casey's journey began as one of 16 kids in the countryside of Wisconsin, where curious deer would observe the two-legged Casey family as they went about their farming chores. From there, he navigated through diverse roles: lumber camp worker, prison guard, and streetcar operator. He felt he had found his true love, a young woman named Rebecca, and he asked her to marry him, but Rebecca's parents didn't approve, and so they sent her to a school far away. Then his job fell apart too. One day he was driving the trolley car, and he rode up to a drunken sailor who was attacking someone with a knife, and it was too late to help. These trials would inspire Solanus to make something greater of himself and be a force for peace and healing in a world that needed help. Out of compassion for suffering humanity, Solanus Casey traded a promising career for a higher calling in the priesthood. But here's the twist: rejection awaited him. The seminary courses were in German and Latin, languages he couldn't speak or read, which led to academic struggles. Despite his intelligence, Solanus only ended up graduating as a simplex priest, which limited him to being a doorkeeper and fulfilling receptionist duties instead of preaching or hearing confessions. It seemed like his life was unraveling once again, but Solanus understood that sometimes a blessing disguises itself as a curse. Rejection was merely a redirection, and he believed that anyone could be an instrument in God's hands, regardless of their circumstances. Being a humble doorkeeper, he became even more accessible to people, touching even more lives. Even though he was just the guy that opened the door to let people into the church, he became renowned for miracle healings and profound wisdom. Thousands flocked to seek divine favors from this unlikely and extraordinary man of God. From banishing blindness to dispelling birth defects and conquering cancer, we're told that Solanus Casey's healing interventions have left doctors bewildered and speechless. One particularly heartwarming story unfolds when Solanus helped a fellow monk who had a severe jaw infection. After the dentist confirmed the infection was completely gone, the monk, overwhelmed with joy and gratitude, sought to express his thanks to Solanus. In response, Solanus declared, "This calls for a celebration," and pulled a couple of ice cream cones from the desk drawer. The funny thing is that the ice cream cones were brought in by a visitor earlier in the day and should have logically melted by this point, but they were mysteriously preserved from their otherwise sloppy fate, which just added to the wonder and the sweetness of the divine moment. And here's the cherry on top. Solanus tells us not to pray for easy lives, but to pray to be strong. That we shouldn't pray for tasks equal to our power, but pray for powers equal to our tasks. Then you yourself shall be the miracle. Discover the fascinating world of holy man Solanus Casey with these 3 captivating and entertaining facts. First of all, Solanus loved to play the violin, but we're told his violin skills were a little bit like an alarm clock. It would probably wake you up and make you appreciate the silence. Also, he used to refer to his legs as his faithful old sentinels, and even though the faithful old sentinels would sometimes protest, he used to jog around at night barefoot in order to keep in trim. And finally, he used to carry candy in his pockets, not because of a serious sugar addiction, but to give to the kids at church as a simple way to share a little joy with others. But the sweetest thing wasn't the candy, it was his caring look and caring wisdom. For example, he tells us that if we were only 1/10 as appreciative as we should be, we would find peace in what we have and who we are. Through gratitude, we can be happier with less and develop a greater joy for the sweetness of the moment. Solanus Casey was known to be a very holy man, but what I find most charming is that he was also known to be very slow at typing. He would often work late into the night on his typewriter, with each key tap rattling loudly in the ears of the nearby monks who were trying to sleep. Utilizing a hunt and peck method due to his failing eyesight, he used to take a long time to find the keys he was looking for, keeping the monks waiting in suspense. Sometimes the extended pauses between keystrokes led the monks to wonder if he'd fallen asleep for the night. But then, another loud key tap would vanquish hope. Despite the disruptions, everyone tolerated his nocturnal typing antics because they understood the power of his messages. One of his messages was that gratitude is one of the very first and surest indications of intelligence, and atheism is the blackest ingratitude possible. Furthermore, atheism robs people of supernatural hope, the very soul of human happiness. Let's step back in time to October 29th, 1929, when the stock market took a nosedive, triggering the Great Depression. Faced with widespread fear and hunger, a beacon of hope emerged in the form of Solanus Casey and the Capuchin friars, who, despite grappling with their own poverty, pioneered the establishment of a Capuchin soup kitchen. Picture this: scarce food supplies, hundreds of hungry souls lining up daily, but Solanus, unwavering in his faith, reassured everyone that God would provide them with the food donations needed. Not only did they manage to feed the hungry, but they went above and beyond, nourishing people with love and attention, the essential nutrients that are often in short supply. Fast forward almost a century later, and the soup kitchen in Detroit, Michigan is still going strong. It's an inspiring reminder that compassion and faith can withstand the test of time. Let's thank God for all of the pain and suffering. One of the remarkable things about Solanus Casey is that he chose gratitude in the face of physical pain. As he got older, Solanus was afflicted with a severely painful skin condition. When asked about his pain, Solanus would respond, "Oh, I hurt all over. Thanks be to God." But why would he thank God for pain? Well, the hurts and hardships can be powerful blessings in disguise. It can bring people together in support and mutual bonding. It can strengthen our character by bringing out our hidden powers and potential. And pain and suffering can be a pathway to divine grace. I see pain and suffering as an adventure buddy that takes us on new experiences with new people to meet, new wisdom, and new priorities for how we live. So let's remember that pain is not in vain, and when it shows up in our lives, we can follow in the footsteps of Solanus and proclaim, "Thanks be to God." Hey Woody, here's a 5-step system from Solanus Casey that can help us fly to new spiritual heights. Number 1, detachment of oneself from earthly affections, singleness of purpose. Let's shed worldly distractions to focus on the spiritual life. 2, meditation on the passion of Jesus Christ. Let's make a sincere effort to appreciate the profound love that God holds for each of us. 3, uniformity of will within the divine will. Let's not pray to change God's plans, but pray that we change so that we can better appreciate and trust God's plans. 4, mental prayer, meditation, and contemplation. Let's set aside time for quiet introspection to strengthen our connection with the divine. 5, prayer. Ask and it shall be given to you. Let's trust that God responds to our sincere prayers, and let's use all these tips to take our spirit vibes to new heights. Anxiety is atheism. This might be a challenging concept for many, especially those who think of themselves as religious or spiritual, but still get entangled in thoughts of fear and insecurity, revealing their underlying lack of trust in a higher power. Solanus Casey encourages us not to judge the moment. Looking back over the years, our greatest worries have often revolved around events that never ended up happening, and much of the stuff that stung us in the past is not such a big deal anymore. Let's remain faithful to the present moment and the divine plan. Let's thank God for getting us this far, especially considering all of the silly mistakes we've made. Solanus tells us that confidence in a higher power helps us find peace and strength in the moment, and that is the essence of true religion. So rather than nervously buzzing about the uncertainty of the future, let's remind ourselves, no matter what happens, God and I will find a way to handle it, and let's thank God ahead of time. This poor man left a life legacy that was so rich. Solanus Casey's funeral in 1957 was attended by over 20,000 people. Fast forward to today, people from all walks of life continue to visit the Solanus Casey Center in Detroit, Michigan, where his spirit lives on. Remarkably, there are whispers about divine favors that have been experienced by those who have prayed at his tomb. Despite his failures to marry or become a full-fledged priest, Solanus Casey maintained a perfect attitude to God and humanity, and his story shows that failure can lead to extraordinary adventures in life and even be a gateway for the miraculous. There is a profound beauty in his example of a simple life with a simple belief, to trust God no matter what, because sometimes it's just that simple. Imagine your own personal meeting with Solanus Casey, who has eagerly awaited this moment with you. With profound interest and respect, he treats you like you're the most important person in the world. As you share the troubles and difficulties of your life, Solanus listens attentively, looking at you with gentleness and compassion. He completely accepts you for who you are and what you've been through and what you're going through now. He reassures you that everything is going to be all right, even if the path ahead seems uncertain, and even if it's not what you want. In the end, everything will be okay because God's in charge and God knows the best way to get things done. Be at peace, knowing that every step you take serves a divine purpose because your life is divinely guided.
Mystery of life, at last I've found thee. I know at last the secret of it all the longing, seeking, striving, waiting, yearning, the burning hopes, the joy and idle tears that fall.